SpongeBob SquarePants has been one of the most beloved animated series in television history, running since 1999 and captivating audiences of all ages with its colorful underwater world, absurd humor, and surprisingly deep characters. But beneath the cheerful surface of Bikini Bottom lies one of the most morally corrupt characters ever written for a children's cartoon. Mr. Eugene H. Krabs, the greedy, manipulative, and often downright cruel owner of the Krusty Krab restaurant. While SpongeBob bounces around with innocent joy and Patrick stumbles through life with lovable obliviousness, Mr. Krabs has consistently committed acts so heinous, so selfish, and so unforgivable that fans and critics alike have spent years cataloging his crimes against his employees, his friends, and basic human, or rather, crustacean, decency. This is not a light-hearted list. This is a serious reckoning with the worst things Mr. Krabs ever did, explained in full, because this crab deserves to be held accountable. Buckle up, because by the end of this, you will never look at that $loving crustacean the same way again. Crime number 1. He sold SpongeBob's soul for 62 cents. In the episode Born Again Krabs, Mr. Krabs finds himself face to face with the Flying Dutchman, the ghostly sailor of the deep who has come to collect his soul. Faced with the prospect of eternal damnation, Mr. Krabs does something truly breathtaking in its cruelty. He trades SpongeBob's soul instead of his own. He hands over his most loyal, hard-working, and devoted employee, a being who has never done anything but love and serve him, to a supernatural entity of punishment, and he does it without a second of hesitation. The price? 62 cents, not $62, not 62,000, 62 individual cents. SpongeBob, who at that point had been working at the Krusty Krab for years, who had shown up every single day with enthusiasm and dedication, who had literally saved the restaurant countless times, was valued by his employer at less than $1. The Flying Dutchman himself was so disgusted by the transaction that he eventually let SpongeBob go, unable to believe the depths of Krabs' moral bankruptcy. This episode is often cited as the single moment that crystallized just how deeply Mr. Krabs is willing to sacrifice the people around him for his own gain, and for virtually nothing in return. Crime number 2. He drove SpongeBob to a nervous breakdown for profit. In one-course meal, Plankton is terrorized by a whale phobia, and Mr. Krabs discovers this weakness. Rather than simply using it to protect the Krusty Krab's secret formula, he dresses up as Pearl, his teenage whale daughter, to psychologically torture Plankton on a daily basis. He drives Plankton to such extreme mental distress that the tiny villain ends up lying in the middle of a road, completely broken, waiting to be run over. But the real crime here goes deeper. When SpongeBob expresses concern, Krabs dismisses it entirely and shows no remorse. He weaponized someone's deepest psychological fear, not out of self-defense or even revenge, but purely for his own amusement and convenience. Even Plankton, who is himself a villain, did not deserve to be psychologically destroyed in this way. The episode drew significant criticism from parents and viewers for depicting what amounts to sustained psychological abuse played for laughs. Crime number 3. He kept SpongeBob's first dollar and lied about it. SpongeBob's first dollar, his very first earned dollar, a deeply sentimental object he had kept for years, was at the center of one of Krabs' most petty betrayals. In Clams, after celebrating his 1,000,000th dollar, Krabs loses it to a giant clam. He then forces SpongeBob and Squidward into a dangerous and exhausting expedition to get it back, putting their lives genuinely at risk. But beyond that episode, the recurring motif of Krabs' relationship with money reveals something deeply wrong. He lies about it, manipulates others regarding it, and treats currency as more sacred than the lives and well-being of those around him. His greed is not comedic. It is pathological. It makes him dangerous. Crime number 4. He committed actual labor violations against SpongeBob. Over the course of the series, Mr. Krabs subjects SpongeBob to a working environment that would be illegal in any jurisdiction on land. He has paid SpongeBob in fake money. He has charged SpongeBob for the privilege of working. He has made SpongeBob work 24-hour shifts without breaks. He has withheld pay and manipulated his employees' paychecks in dozens of documented episodes. In Squid on Strike, when Squidward attempts to form a union and demand basic workers' rights, Krabs retaliates with such aggression that the entire situation escalates into complete chaos. The episode, played as comedy, is actually a fairly bleak portrait of labor exploitation. SpongeBob, who loves his job with a childlike sincerity, is so emotionally dependent on working at the Krusty Krab that Krabs exploits this loyalty relentlessly, knowing full well that SpongeBob will never leave. Crime Sub 5. He endangered children for profit in The Sponge Who Could Fly. Mr. Krabs' relationship with Pearl, his own daughter, is another window into his character. He regularly refuses to give her money for basic teenage social activities, instead using her as a free marketing tool, forcing her to perform and appear at Krusty Krab events against her will. In multiple episodes, he prioritizes the restaurant's profits directly over Pearl's emotional well-being, missing her important life events because he refuses to close the Krusty Krab for even a single afternoon. For a father figure, this is damning. Pearl frequently ends up in tears, and Krabs' response is almost always to check his cash register. Crime number 6. He framed an innocent man. In the Krabby Chronicle, Mr. Krabs creates a newspaper and forces SpongeBob to write completely fabricated, defamatory stories about the residents of Bikini Bottom in order to boost sales. These stories destroy reputations, ruin businesses, and cause genuine community harm. Also, Krabs can make a few extra dollars off newsstand sales. When the damage becomes undeniable and SpongeBob refuses to continue, Krabs threatens him. The episode is a sharp, if unintentional, satire of tabloid journalism and media manipulation. But at its core, it is the story of a business owner who committed defamation, fraud, and economic sabotage against his own community for pocket change. Crime Chapter 7. He auctioned off his employees. In various episodes, Mr. Krabs treats SpongeBob and Squidward not as employees but as property. He has loaned them out, traded their services, and in some cases made decisions about their time and labor without their knowledge or consent, purely for financial benefit. This is not hyperbole. In at least one instance, he effectively rents SpongeBob's skills to another business owner without telling SpongeBob, pocketing the money himself. The fact that SpongeBob is too trusting and too loyal to recognize the exploitation makes it worse, not better. Crime Chapter 8. He tried to serve spoiled food to customers. In Born Again Krabs, before his encounter with the Flying Dutchman, Krabs finds an old, rotting Krabby Patty that has been sitting under the grill for who knows how long. Rather than throw it away, he attempts to serve it to customers. SpongeBob is horrified and refuses. Krabs insists. The argument escalates. At its heart, this scene captures something genuinely disturbing. Mr. Krabs is willing to poison his own customers rather than absorb a loss of a single patty. His greed poses a direct physical health risk to the people who pay to eat at his establishment. He is not just a bad employer or a bad father figure, he is a bad restaurateur in the most dangerous possible sense. Crime number 9. He destroyed SpongeBob's confidence repeatedly on purpose. In the Fry Cook games and multiple other episodes, Mr. Krabs psychologically manipulates SpongeBob's sense of identity and worth to motivate him, often tearing him down when it suits the restaurant's interests and building him back up only when he needs something. He has told SpongeBob he is worthless, that nobody else would hire him, and that the Krusty Krab is the only place he belongs, not as encouragement, but as a threat. This is textbook emotional manipulation, designed to ensure that SpongeBob never develops enough self-worth to demand better treatment or seek employment elsewhere. Crime-centric 10. He lets Squidward suffer endlessly without remorse. Squidward Tentacles is perhaps the most tragic figure in Bikini Bottom. Talented, sensitive, and deeply unhappy, he works a dead-end job at the Krusty Krab because he has no other options. Mr. Krabs knows this, and he exploits it completely. He piles abuse and indignity onto Squidward daily, offering no support, no recognition, and no raises. In episodes where Squidward finds genuine happiness or success, Krabs often finds a way to undercut it when it interferes with profits. He does not see Squidward as a person, he sees him as a resource. Mr. Krabs is not just a comedic miser in a children's cartoon. Across more than 2 decades of episodes, the writers of SpongeBob SquarePants, whether intentionally or through gradual character drift, created a villain hiding in plain sight. A being so consumed by greed that he would sell a friend's soul, poison his customers, psychologically destroy his enemies, exploit his employees, and neglect his own daughter, all without genuine remorse and often without consequences. The fact that these crimes are wrapped in bright colors and cartoon logic does not diminish them. If anything, it makes them more insidious, because generations of children watched Mr. Krabs and laughed, while the real message quietly settled in. Some people will always choose money over everything else, and in Bikini Bottom, just like in the real world, they rarely pay for it.